And we're back. Hello, everyone. I'm Kuba, and we can continue, I guess, the work we have left yesterday. It was yesterday. Local time, it was morning for me. Where we left off, maybe I'll go do a bit of recap. But before we start, I think I can actually do some invites, maybe on LinkedIn, so guys from LinkedIn can also join. If there's anyone bored and want to waste their time on troubleshooting the application that is already a few years old and is just for the test, maybe there is someone here who is interested in that. Again, I'm gonna try to find the stream here. Streams, and I'm gonna send out the link shortly. Like I said yesterday, for a performance engineer, I'm pretty slow in everything. Eventually I get the job done, I guess. So just a short pause. Okay, I think I can share with you guys already what I'm doing. And I did some changes already in my screen and the setup of my OBS. I can already see that it's maybe not enough. Back. So I'm gonna do some checks. I'm gonna do some fixes to the setup here. Hopefully the issue with screen freezing working on with JPetstore. Okay, that should do it. I guess hopefully we will be able to do some more work today, or at least the plan for today, I guess, will be okay, I'll do this in different, will be at least to see why do I have the problems that I've showed you yesterday. Go with the last one day. It should still show up. No, it was later than 1 day ago. 3 days here. Why do I see a problem with the order action? So the P95, I guess, actually, if I don't know what the matrix is here, I should probably modify this pane and tell exactly what source was there. It was P90. Okay, so I should name it a P90 latency. It's actually P90 response time per endpoint. That should be more descriptive. So yesterday we had a problem when I did have a problem when I ran the test for 100 users. I saw an increase of the order action comparing to the other endpoints. It was very slow. So other endpoints don't even show up as meaningful here. So at 0. Standard response time for each of the pods for those endpoints I saw like for around 20 milliseconds, but these wouldn't even show up here. So I guess either the resolution is wrong or the sampling is wrong, or these are just too fast to even be captured or calculated by the CNOs, right? So again, why would that be, right? We know that we can trace the spans, so that we go to traces. Of course, I'm gonna have to look for the data since yesterday. This guy shows a few milliseconds duration calls. This is all fine. This is all good, I guess. But it can I even sort? Are those fields sortable? This is just the least few. oh, this guy, for example, 1.2 seconds, right? This is one of the codes that I'm trying to print. I bet, looking from the chart that I was looking at before, this will be the action. So this is a get operation for sure. This will be a read, according to at least to the standard. So if I do a read here, this should give me some hints on what the operation was. Based on the chart I've seen per operation, I'm guessing this would be also called to the sim. My guess would be that it was an order action, but actually this goes for the account action. Now, I'm not sure whether I want to fix the issues with or dig into the application itself, or maybe, and this should be actually my first step, because I know that my test that I had recorded, I had not modified it in any meaningful way. So if I just go here, did I just lose my? Oh no, I have not. For a while now, I thought I've lost my whole recording again, but it should be good. By the way, I think I've resolved the problem with the freezing screen recording on M1 Mac. Turns out that there is an option, and there is an option to use a deprecated already option for the for the screen recording. And instead of using Mac OS screen capture, you can use the display capture. I think it's an older method, but still this might work for my M1 Mac specifically, right? So I've read on some forums that there is some problems with M1 Mac specifically, M1 MacBooks, with a second screen attached. So this is something that I want to also address. I'll try to pay attention to the screen here to see whether these problems have been resolved. So there's a POM here of my plugin. Why can I? Where are all my files? This is something interesting. Okay, so I think I should be running this with some view. So we're in the presentation mode, I guess, or some other mode that I don't want to see. Where are my sources? There is a Zen mode here. I got lost completely. Okay, I'm guessing I should go to the source, test Java, I guess, and my purchase pet simulator. Okay, now we're back. Now I think I don't even know what the window was, really. But okay, let's do here. We have our first recording of the pet store, and what I knew was a bit problematic and would be problematic for the future is that I keep on reusing the same user, right? And this is actually one of the flaws of the implementation here of the application. Or maybe it was expected, right? Maybe the application wants users to be logged in on multiple devices at once for the same account. In this case, it is, but when I run 100 concurrent users for the same account, I should expect some problems, and problems specifically with those endpoints, right? If I have multiple users logging with the same account, I'm gonna hit the same database roles. I'm gonna hit the same records. So yeah, I don't think it's really anything that should surprise me that I have some problems with certain endpoints. Also, if I log into this application right now, which I am actually very inclined to do, and I'm gonna use the same account I'm gonna have, I should be seeing some of the transactions that we have done yesterday during at least 2 or 3 test runs that I had. This should be very interesting to see. Okay, so JPetstore, I'm gonna open it here and sign in. Acid. So this password has been found in data breach. Don't not use that. No, just kidding. I mean, this is the standard for the demo application, so it is already well known. If anyone is interested in the security here. Okay, so we have here But I have not signed in. Why is that? Okay, now it works. I should be able to go to my account, check my orders. Okay, as I suspected, there's a few orders here, but also not as much as I would expect from the test setup, right? The setup of the users have also been a bit like I don't think I fully understood what this setup did really. You can see here these guys are in order. That's fine. There is some gap though here, or they are not ordered by the ID somehow. They all point to the same date. I think it's a either a bug or this date actually gets injected into the recording time. So this is this looks like a bad application design, right? So the user should not be posting the date. If it's like now sorting the date, there should be a clock time somewhere, but not taken from the user. See what I did a recording of the of this application. The date got defaulted to a 12 a.m. I guess p.m. Sorry, right? So the same day, the same date for all the transactions. I can expect the total price to be the same because every time I was just ordering the same objects, which is totally fine for me. That was my expected scenario, but the date is not updated. And when I look at the test recording, I'm guessing I'm going to find this date in the form param somehow, somewhere. Or it just stores a date, but the time is not set there, and it just gets defaulted by the application. So interesting finding, and we can look at that here, possibly in the order action here. So in the order form, we set the details, we set the source page, we set this parameter. I'm not sure what it actually does, but I do not see any date here. Let's just update of the cart. I do not see any time specifically. So this is something that I would probably, I'm not sure what I would do with that. What I would do with that really. This is something interesting to see. I don't like either the application just persists the date itself, and then on the view, it gets defaulted to the to midnight, I guess, or to 12 p.m. Because it looks like I don't submit this date anywhere, right? So it looks like functional bug or something that could be improved. Either if you store the date and time, then you just present the date and time, right? But if you store the date, presenting the date time field is not the best way to solve these problems. Okay, let's see. We actually have any viewers here, guys. If you have any questions, if you have any even off-topic questions, just do ask them, and I'll try to address them. I can see the chat here. I'm gonna be looking at that as well. So if you guys have any questions, okay, I can see the audios here. I can see that. All right, that should be fine. Just mute myself so I don't accidentally echo here. Cool. So we know that we have some forms, and we know that we don't send a date, and we still don't know why we are sending the why certain transactions take too long, right? So the first mistake and first thing that I see we can fix. Let's restart the test, see if we can replicate those problems from yesterday. Maybe they got worse, maybe, possibly. I'm looking at the number of transactions that I have performed. This at once users is probably not the config I want to see 100 transactions done like at least like once per user. So that's something I'll have to probably dig into as well. And I think this should be it. Okay, so I'm restarting the test right now. Compared to yesterday's test, you can see that I didn't have to choose the scenario because I just deleted the basic one that came with a standard installation of the Gatling. So I'm just executing the first scenario that I had. I'm pretty sure there's also an option with the Maven. You can specify the class that you want to use, so you don't have to click here the scenario type that you want. It just does that by default when you are when you have not specified any scenario, right? As a reminder. Okay, there's looking at the fields here. There are a number of requests for each of the steps here. It does imply that we've actually have executed certain transactions 100 times, I think, because this goes through the elapse, this goes through the OK transactions. KO is 0 for each. And then we have 100 transactions for each transaction type, right? This is something unexpected, at least looking at yesterday's test duration, right? I should expect that these orders would grow by 100, and this is not the case. So I may have some race conditions or may have some problems with actually persisting those messages somehow. So they don't either. It's actually very interesting. It may be, I think I know what's happening here. Okay, what I did with the JPetstore is something you should really do without validating it, at least for scalability, because I don't think it was actually ready to be scalable at all, right? So what may be happening is that the orders, like the sequence, for example, can be persisted per server, right, or per pod, and these will be just overriding itself all over the place. I'm not sure that is the case here, but I think we can look at the code and see what is happening with the orders and why we don't see at least 300 or 400 orders here in the list, right? Like I would even forget the fact that it's totally not paginated and that it wouldn't scale at all for like any reason. Especially those list orders. This operation here would not scale when put on prod, especially for the big users, for the big customers. But I think the bigger problem here resides within our scalability of the application, right? So it looks like the scaling and putting the JPetStore on the Kubernetes was not as good idea as I thought, because it looks like these orders were just overridden. I'm not sure how it would behave though if I had used different accounts, right? Something that I think I have to also look at here. There are a few options to validate that. First option for me is to change the test. I know that I'm using the same account all over the place, so this can be contributor to this problem. But we can also validate the application itself. I'm going to go with the first one because, well, I just left my test in a very bad shape for now, so I'll have to fix it anyways, regardless of the outcome of the analysis of these orders missing, right? So probably if you look at the signals for the last 30 minutes, we're going to see some slow calls, but not as slow as I would expect. Okay, this is actually something very nice. So yesterday when I ran the test with the same scenario, we had the duration of over 1 second. Right now, these are not as high. Okay, so there is one with 300 milliseconds, and I think it's the max here. If I go to my dashboard, and I probably should go with the last 30 minutes. My dashboard looks okay. CPU looks okay. There were some hiccups on the order action. Again, the order action jumped to the 2 seconds, but I don't think this chart is right, you know? I don't think it shows the real values, because when we look at the action calls previously, they were closer to a second, but on this dashboard they were pointing to a 0, which is unrealistic. Let's see if we can fix that. Okay, so this URI path contains action. That's okay. Of course, it's not right, because I was looking for the status code. I don't think I should be using the status code here anyway. I should go with the P90 duration nano. Now it's better. But I guess I should be also able to somehow format these values, right? I should be able to just format these somehow, because I don't want the nanoseconds, really. I don't care about nanoseconds. Right, so this is the P90 of the duration nano. I would rather have these in milliseconds already. I'm not even sure how to convert these into readable units. This is an interesting case here. So we have the traces, we can group them, which is fine. The path is the only one, is the only thing I can think of right now to verify these. And duration nano, but I should be able somehow to convert these, right? I'm pretty sure I can just Google this thing. Signals, convert, value, metric type and aggregations. Okay, this is something. Okay, we have a counter. I'm pretty sure we're using a counter for this. This is the aggregation. So we have here, we have the gauge. That is fine, but I need the formatting. I don't know how to use that really. If I leave it like that, it's gonna look ugly, right? So you're gonna have a numbers that are not well formatted. That's a legend format. Name of legend. Okay, so this guy goes with the duration nano. See the average duration. Okay, this is an example here. I think they should be solving here my problem. So this goes with my service name. This goes with duration nano. This goes with time series. Result manipulation. Customize your queries format. Okay, so this goes with the format. I think it's similar to the one that's in the InfluxDB. Okay, so this goes with the functions here. I just want them to be in like meaningful time values. Am I asking for too much here? Is it just because I'm using query builder? And no, this is a time series value, right? So okay, but it's on a x-axis, not a y-axis. It's not guaranteed to have the it's not guaranteed to have the values in here. Scale, it's linear. It should be fine. Description here. These are the threshold. How do I convert these into seconds? Signals convert nanos to seconds. I think seconds. This is the essential guides. I'm just looking for a way to make it meaningful. You know, if they present the data in nanoseconds, I suppose, you know, I could look into the log 10 functions here, but I'm not sure this is actually the way validating that. You know what? I'm just going to leave it here. I want to focus on the main problem. Safe. Okay, let's leave it with the nanoseconds for now. So the order action did take longer than normals, and this was actually postponed here. So this is the one that the actions say users have waited for the most. The action was not as bad as I would think. So yeah, overall it doesn't look bad. Okay, the GC histogram shows here. So we have some overview of this of these events. I'm still not sure how to visualize it here better. Maybe there is some way. The most important for me is GC pause time per case node. So this is the summary, I guess, a sum of pauses for each of the pods containers for my application, right? Okay, so I had to do some reading about the test itself, and it looks like the best option to enter the values would be using a CSV file. Yes, I can just add this value here somehow, or you know what? Gatling parameters CSV. Let's use that some example. Let's look at some examples here. There's a session scripting reference. Okay, here's a forum here. There are some answers. That's good. Okay. I think somebody's looking at the same application as I am, right? And they doing some checks. Maybe we have some errors actually. That's actually going to be interesting. So the checks were not automatically added to the into the scenario and to the test. Maybe I'm missing them somehow. Maybe they should be added to the test as well. Maybe I have a bunch of errors, but then I would see those also probably here in the samples, right? So I'm not worried about it that much yet. So we can look at that. Let's look at the parameterization, right? So they have some CSV feeder, which is a parameterized CSV file. That's lovely. Okay, this person here is asking for a CSV parameterization, but it has a then link comma. That makes sense. But I want to steal the feeder. I'm not sure. Okay, this is a random process. Might make sense to some extent. Let's try to just use that and see how it behaves. So this CSV is embedded into the feed, and after the feed, you can reference the variable in here, right? This at least what it looks to me. So we're gonna give it a try and see how it works. I'm just gonna double check whether you guys can actually see what I'm doing and that my screen is still not freezing. So far, it has been good, so that's okay. Okay, so this feeder here. Let's go to HTTP pause. First, the logging part. Yeah, of course. I have to add the feeder first. I don't even have the CSV method, so I'm gonna have to import it somehow. And probably, where is this CSV supposed to be taken from? It's a function here. Functions can be modified here, or maybe they either are some core or high level transactions. So just forgive me. Nice. Second. They either are coming from some core APIs or not. I'm not sure. A nie, okay. I guess my kids just entered the room. Okay, but let's focus on the thing again. Parameterization and the categories. Why do they use the CSV method here? I'm not even sure. This doesn't come with a standard installation. I should be looking at the full Gatling HTTP examples. This is the simulation construction. They are using just the basic calls. This is the injection profile, and there's a test execution. Yeah, nothing here on the test parameterization. Again, installation deployment. Core, this might be feeders. Okay, so a feeder is a feeder. You can feed multiple records at once. You can feed them yourselves, and I guess you can use a CSV feeder as well. Okay, this is RFC 4180 specification. That's fine. You can specify a custom separator for a CSV. This is also good. You can use a semicolon and a comma or tabulation. But which class is it coming from? I suppose I should have some importing here to actually verify and to validate CSV. I could not just type in the CSV and expect it to work, right? I guess maybe that's not the way here. But when I have here a feeder, I'd expect this feeder to be available, right? So you can have here multiple action. I guess in a this returns a random number. The CSV. What is a batchable? What's okay? So this guy goes from here. So it goes from the core DSL value from the core DSL API and from Java API core. Okay, this makes sense. So I have a feeder here. Why doesn't it then give me the... Okay, that's why. So when I just paste it here, the snippet, I think it used some kind of different quotation marks and it just failed. So let me just guys get the view here. Okay, so I'm gonna get a random entry from the category CSV. I am also going to add a CSV file here. So I'm gonna users CSV. And this is going to be a text. And as I'm using a CSV, so comma separated value, I'm gonna have to use a commas for my text. Now, here's a big question. What have I named my users with? I'm pretty sure I've preloaded some of the users to my library, so they should be available somehow, somewhere. Just validate here. Copy on a desktop with a JPetstore. Test user CSV and I think user load. Squeal. Okay, so that was fairly easy. I had a user with a password. I'm not even sure these were actually loaded to my environment. So I'm gonna try first logging in with one of those. So user 3, password 3. Again, this is a test environment, guys. So do not expect any major security here, and yeah, I'm not exposing it anywhere. So this is just everything running locally. So I have the user 3 and password 3. Let's see if I can log into my JPetstore with that. User 3, password 3. Yes, this user exists. This means I can add the users right now to my CSV file and they should be extractable. Great, that's awesome. So I can just get them here. I've pre-created 100 users and passwords for them, and all the profiles, they're pretty the same, but they are effectively different records in a database. So that should be fine. Okay, in here, can I somehow? Okay, that should be good. Scenes. Cool. I'm just gonna copy it and see if I can parameterize my own users. Okay, one thing I have to do, of course, is to do a replace. One thing I very much hate about switching from various systems, like going through Mac or from to Windows back and forth, is that I have different keyboard layouts and different shortcuts. Right, so these guys actually should be, I don't even know how to replace text in here. So normally Control F for find should work here. Can also do some replacement, I guess. Find and replace, right? Replace in files. I want this specific file here. So password. And I want that. Okay, I want the. Yeah, that's not gonna work, is it? Why can't I just replace it here in the IntelliJ? I don't want to finish this. Okay, I'm just gonna move it to my Visual Studio Code. You know, I'm not taking any chances. And in here, I can do like this. So a spacebar. Why is there no result? It should be a use regular expression. Why can't I just replace all? There are no results in the file, which is odd. Why? Is that the case? Are those tabs? Don't tell me these are tabs. Of course they are tabs. That's why I couldn't find these. Ah. Yeah, I'm just gonna replace all the tabs with nothing. Is that an option? I guess that's an option. Should be able to do that. So I can just add a tab here, maybe a regex. See, you're gonna see me struggling with the simple files. That's nice. Now when I hit the tab, it just doesn't do anything. I mean, it just goes to the whole. What the hell is happening? This is odd. This is very weird. It worked for the first time, so I could just enter the tab number, the tab key, and it just worked. But then on the next attempt, it did not. So when I'm in the middle, it just goes to the same here. This is something very concerning or just odd. These are not white space characters. Maybe they are. Oh. It's going to copy whatever is here. Maybe if I just paste it. Okay, now it should work, right? So these parameters replace all. Great, we have it. 5 minutes later, Kuba is handling the CSV file. Okay, back to the topic, parameterization. Let's focus. I think the focus is the keyword here. And I need the column names because they are named. So username, password. Okay, so the CSV file exists, right? I can now refer to the users.csv. I'm not even sure about the path here, really. Maybe this is okay, but I'm not even sure what it looks for. What is the path of this file? Maybe it is looking for the same path. I don't know. Normally, it should be under resources, but who knows? Okay, so it should be users.csv, and I want a random user, right? So object feeder, it should be one of those batchers, right? I'm not sure. I don't want to leave an anonymous objects, but I think that should be also okay. As long as they just convert later, they should just convert to at runtime. Okay, so in your order action, back to the login page, which is the most important. Simulation. Here, so I want to feed with the feed builder. Okay, so this is where the feeder comes in. Is that the case here? I did something very stupid. I'm pretty sure I have. Because there's a pause here. Should it go to the HTTP object? No, it wouldn't then let me. Okay, now it's gone here. The feeder is not a supplier, so it's not this batch thingy here. So not the chain builder. I should go with the chain builder here, I guess. So I'm gonna just drop the object. See, this is just lazy typing. And now IntelliJ should give me an inferred type of this object. Nah, why would it return void? This is weird. Was it batchable feeder? No. Yeah, I didn't recall the class name here for this object. Great. I mean, not great. Java does not allow depth of vars here, so this is a bit tricky. And we can do a batchable. It should screen that it's the wrong type, right? It is actually batchable. Okay. So please forget the interface. This should be okay. And this goes for the feeder, right? So we're feeding here the users, and I should be able to replace this with the username and password. Username and the password. I guess. Cool. Let's try this out. Let's see what changes. If this works, one way to validate that would be first to check the latencies for the services. That's one thing. But also the thing to validate would be the number of orders for each of the users, right? If I'm using various users, they should have also some orders active on the server. Normally, you could also probably go one by one or debug those tests. Well, I haven't gotten there yet on how to debug these scripts. I mean, obviously, going line by line and seeing what the action had returned is an option, but then I guess you're gonna have one. You're gonna need one of the users, right? I still haven't looked into the injection profiles, so the thing that I'm doing by default is an inject open to at once users. I'm pretty sure this is not what I would want that. So you know, some ramp up, some ramp down here. This is all doable, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not doing that yet, right? So I'm gonna focus on that later. Right now, I want to focus on the parameterization of a test, and I think the first users already should have some orders in place. Right, if I go here to my orders, this guy doesn't have any yet. Maybe none of them have anymore. I didn't get any error of reading the CSV file, so that's a good sign, I guess. Or maybe it just doesn't return anything if the file doesn't exist. I also don't know. User for password. Sure. See, it just failed. Okay, so the user exists, my account, my orders. What are the chances that both of the users that I was checking didn't have any accounts? Pretty big, I'd say. Bigger than I would want because my injection profile is wrong. It's just something. Okay, I got a 97 errors out of like 100%. So all of them have failed. Throughput looks nice. Okay, that's a good thing. It's a good sign. We have a good throughput numbers, good throughput volumes, but we are at staggering. Oh no, actually the percentage error is 97. However, this is something that I think is happening here. And these errors are due to problems with the login. So when I look at okay, this is going to like request 28. Okay, so it's not a login. It's not a login. I think I know what's happening here. Request 28 is I have put a step there to call for a specific order ID, which may not belong to the user that is currently logged in. Okay, this makes sense. This makes actually sense. So this should be fixed in the simulation script. Sorry, and we should have it then. So here, request 28, I'm just going to confirm that. See, what are the things that I've learned, at least during the recording. If I see right now, I think I have a recording screen opened. Gatling recorder. No. How do I name these transactions or runtime? Because yesterday I had some reservations and the some doubts about naming convention of Gatling when I look at the transaction here and specifically, okay, maybe not this script here. The other one, what is it? When I look at the target, it should be source test Java IO. When I look at the scripts, then step names goes as follows. So it's like request 1 to 28 or 30 in my case, right? I don't know what this request does, and I've seen applications so convoluted and so cryptic about the actions that were actually that have been invoked, that I would see many problems with that. Okay, request 28 goes for order action new order confirmed true. Now I have no idea why would a step, this particular one step, fail after feeding the users, right? I could understand that we are putting some post for like order action, that's fine. But then why would this particular step fail? I am not quite sure. This may have something to do with those parameters, like the FP or the source page. Source page probably is a static page parameter, so it's going to be the same for all the users. But this could be extracted as well, right? And funny enough, it only failed like 97 times. It's 93 times and actually was successful 7 times. That's even weirder, because if that was the case with my transactions, there are so 4 failed transactions from the request 31, right? I think it's worth actually debugging what had been the problem and what were the responses for this particular transaction. This might shed some light. Okay, it's gonna be request 28. It just returned a 500. The body isn't persisted. Okay, this is something I'm not sure I would want to see during my debugging of a test. So if there's an error, of course, a 500 is a 500. That's understandable, but it also doesn't show any indicators on why that would fail, right? So that's something to obviously look for. Let's see if I can get the traces maybe for those. I should see some errors probably. Response status code, there's none. How do I filter those? Seriously, okay, this is the list here. That's fine. There's some duration. That's also fine. But how do I search for these? Like in the other platforms that I've checked, I could just browse these. Okay, this is the search here. Just go with no op. I'm not sure why the no op here. Is there? Okay, for suggested values. Let's go to list view response status code. Response status code equals 500. Can I run this? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, to the response status code 500. This is how I search. Okay, I was looking for that earlier. It was above the screen and I couldn't find it. So something to do with my at least familiarity with the tool. Okay, so I did with the order, and there were some problems with the order number 1000. This is the error what I would expect to see, right? Because the order 1000 explicitly belongs to the user named acid, and this user is no longer used in my scenario, right? So normally what you would do here to parameterize the test is after the creation of the and these errors will probably request 31. I guess they all should fail really, because the ownership should be validated for the order, and this parameter, this order 1000, should be extracted there from this body here, from this response, right? So these orders actually should be extracted, but I am not sure whether I actually want to execute these steps for my case. First of all, I know that there is some problems with the listing the orders specifically, right? So when I list the orders, I am going to run into many problems of the lack of pagination. So this is something that I would also have to fix if I want to run those tests on a large scale, right? Add some pagination to the service. I'm not even sure how plausible would that be. I know that JPetstore is running on, I think the Stripe was the main library to cover the actions here. So the .actions endpoints that are actually classes that generate the whole JSPs for you. The transport layer is handled by the Spring, yes. You know what? Let's just validate. Let's see. Maybe it is an easy fix. Maybe it is something that we can easily change in the application. I'm not even sure. So this is JPetstore. This is just my fork here. Of Java. Betas. Oh no, I've changed some thing. No, I don't want to change any things here. This breaks my application. Nah. Okay, so this goes here with this is the service, this is the order service. What does I'm gonna trust this project. Not even sure I should. Okay, so this goes with the mappers. It's fine. These are just the actions for the transactional. Okay, this is good. This means we actually have a transactional context. We have here a next ID with the order num. Not even sure what this next ID is coming from. Something to look at, because this might be the reason why we have multiple, like too few orders in the database comparing to the orders in the for each user. So this might be changed to some sequence, I don't know, on a database level. You guys can still see my screen. This is perfect. And okay, this goes with some item ID. This goes with some increments. And it does the update of the inventory. Okay, so this is just to manipulate the inventory. We have get order step, which is also transactional. I'm not sure that it should be. Probably okay. Probably should fine. But then there is nothing to batch those requests. Okay, so I can only see getting a single order ID. I don't see any list of IDs. Oh no, okay, it does here. So get orders by username. Okay, so this API returns a list of orders. That's perfectly fine. That's normal. Okay, so this gets next ID. There's a sequence mapper. Oh, there is a sequence actually. There is a sequence order to be updated. Okay, so the sequence actually should work with her name and with a default of -1. The sequencing should work, so we should not have multiple entries for the same like for the same ID at the same time, because the sequence on a database should guarantee it, unless I'm using some database that doesn't do that. I think MySQL supports it. They should be fine. Okay, so the order service is okay. And let's see the order screen, right? So actually have those, the order screen, but there's one thing that was not there. And if we get the order list, it just gets the full list, right? So it doesn't return any pagination here and so that might be a slowdown or the bigger scale, especially if I just want to use 100 users. So that's something to probably worry about later when we have too many orders for the same user, right? If I keep the screens here, if I keep the steps of validating the order and going to specifically fetching the order list, I might have some problems. There's one thing that I have also noticed, but this was on when I was validating why the order APIs, but what the order endpoints were actually very slow. So the thing is here that I've noticed was rendering of this page took a very long time. And I've downloaded a Parsa instance, so it is running on, of course, a different port. In here, I think, is where I run the test. I think this will be a JPetstore of ours. Some compilation here. There's some DB merge. Is that even coming from a JPetstore? I think it is. Okay, so this guy, the compiler actually had a lot of work. Stop my start or launch of the application? No, it was not. Okay, something to look at for later. But I've also seen a large chunk of rendering for this specific endpoint. So I guess rendering part and the dates conversion were taking the longest, right? Cool. So I guess for now I'm going to do one of the cardinal sins. Is I'm going to commit this cardinal sin and I'm going to remove those steps from my test. Partially because I know that I will not fix those problems easily. I could vibe code them, but I don't have the time for that, and it's also not relevant for my test right now. I'm still going to create the order though, and I'm still going to check the account details, and I'm still going to confirm this order, right? I'm not even sure why this confirmed order would not work. So this would, sorry, this is also one of the steps that had failed. And this was the one that was generating the most errors. If you look at the report here, oh no, it's the wrong report, of course. That's the wrong report, so we can look at the old ones. And this guy should give me 93 errors coming from the request 28. I'm not sure why this guy would fail though. This is something that I have not completely understood yet. Response times for that. Response time distribution. The responses were fairly fast, right? So we're talking a max of 200 milliseconds, right? And there were failures with the 57 milliseconds. This suggests that there was something else going on there. Okay, cool. So I can look at that, I guess, from the, you know what, since I have deleted the last steps, let's retry the test. See what happens. And we can then later fix the, or isolate the errors coming from the step 28, sorry. Just validate whether the test is going to be running. I think I should, guys, I think I should include some music in here, because I'm just talking here. I'm trying to cover or walk you through step by step of my thought process. But I also understand that watching these videos might be a bit boring at many points. So maybe some music should be in place in here. Okay, let me just see what is happening on line 10. There should be some people joining. Maybe there are. We have started 1 hour ago. That's nice. That's actually pretty cool. And already we have more problems than we had when we started. See, this is what happens when you touch things. You should not be touching things, really. You should stick to the same account. We should not assert that we actually have some problems. This never works, Whenever you touch any problems, this always brings more attention. Don't do that. Do not fix your problems. There's always going to be something worse. User 5. Oh, this signing did work. No, it did. I'm looking for any account with orders, but nothing so far. So the question from my side is, am I using the feeder right? Because I don't think I'm actually using the feeder right now. Can I just feed these here? No. No, it's not the right place here. So from the examples, I saw that the people were using the feeders like this, so before the step. right? I may be doing something wrong. I may be doing something very stupid, but it's all a part of learning. That's all covered, I guess. Account. No. I just want to validate that we're actually sending some username and password. Or the params of the form would not show up in the Kafka or the signals, right? So they wouldn't be available. If I look at the signals metrics, code traces, I don't think they will be. Let's go to edits. I want a login page. No, but these will not be there. So HTTP params can go there, but the form params, they are typically hidden from anything, right? And that's for security. So you wouldn't see which user had actually signed up and which user had been logged in. Is there a way to debug and see the whole test? So let's go the Gatling test debug. Okay, you can use here a session. You can use an exec. You can add your own file appender to the logback. It's also fine. You can add the debugger, your IntelliJ into Maven. This feels like the cheapest option, at least not to worry about the setup here. So print line might be a way to go. Let's see whether I can actually invoke that somehow, somewhere, because this is going to the exec. It gets the session, so a lambda. Guess it's a lambda expression here. Goes with the session, returns a session, and then it can, out of the session object, you can get the string at computer. Okay, let's see how this works. Let's see whether I can use actually the username or the password like this. Okay. Let's go with headers. I think exec. No, I can't do that here. And of course, I can't. Exec. Get string username. Let's see if it gets printed here. Right. So the assumption here is it's going to print the username coming from this guy. Right. I'm not sure. Maybe exec is going to work here. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move it from here so that I know it is actually set before, maybe before and after. Okay, this might actually make sense. I should expect then two prints of the same object, right? So the username should be printed twice for me. Let's see if it does. If it's not, then there is some problem with my feeder. Either I'm getting the path wrong, very possible that it's just not feeding anything. In this case, however, I would expect some validation that it had failed, and I cannot read these values. Maybe I don't know. Maybe at the constructor level, maybe they should do some validations. That's at least what I would think would happen, right? This guy goes request 0, request 1. Okay, there are some redirects. That's also good. Are we at request 20 yet? Okay, so this guy actually fills the users. See that? So this is the user 776, 33, 4, user 100, user 1, user 1. These are fairly random. There was a user 3 there as well. Okay, so I'm guessing this first action actually worked, right? So this guy here, feeder, looks like it is working. For the other one, it also looks like is actually fitting to values. Not sure that is what I want to do, but that's, I think, for another validation or for another problem to solve. Okay, so the users are fairly diverse. We can check the user number 18 with a magical password of password 18. Let's sign out, sign in again. Password 18. No, it just fails. This is the user 5, right? User 5 should also have any order right now done, but it doesn't have any. So the list of order is blank. Again, sign out, give me the user 18. This is the one I have for sure have locked in with. There is no orders here. Now, I know I should be doing validations of the body of all the endpoints. I understand that. I just want this test to run, really. Let's see what happened here. We got 84 failed requests, number 28. That's most likely the reason why I don't see any calls here, any successful calls. But what worries me here is I have 100 calls of each, right? And all of the subsequent, all of the subsequent ones have been rejected, right? So if this was a matter of my correlation solely, I would have had 100% failed. But for some reason, 16 of those have succeeded. I'm not sure whether that makes sense or not, but that's something to worry about later, I guess. Okay, so we have some tests. We know that it fails. We know which step it fails on, but it also have made us some progress because right now we are parameterizing the test, right? We can set up here, and I'm going to show this to you guys again. Let me just validate that the screen sharing works. It works perfectly, flawlessly for the last hour. So I'm going to treat it as a success. We have a working test until we confirm the order. This step itself is fairly easy. I mean, it doesn't do much. There may be some collision of the orders, so we can actually, we may have some race condition. Maybe that is the case here, that we're getting failures of some transactions. I should probably run some assertions or print response body for this transaction, and then we should see what's let's see, maybe there is some other way Okay, so they suggest setting up a logback XML to log these. Since the login is the only option, I will just go with the print line. If there's any thing like this. So this is the protocol. You know what? Let's try with one user, maybe, and see if this issue occurs. I'm guessing it's not. My best guess is we have some problems with persisting the orders, and this has to do something with protocol, with the sequence number, and that we have some collision on to get the same the same order ID. That's just my hunch, really. So it's nothing like that I will be worth dying for, but if my theory is right, we shouldn't have this problem with a single user right now. So let's see whether it's successful or not. And if it is, then I guess in the end, we're going to have to fix this. We're going to have to fix this synchronization somehow for creating the orders for multiple users, right? So this is the scenario when actually I want multiple users there. And yeah, the orders are just failing. One of the things that I would want to see somehow is the response body, at least on the error. Maybe there is some parameter that I can specify here. I don't see this anywhere in the report of Gatling. So when I see the reports, I can click on here, say, okay, this is my report. The error is just a validation that has failed, right? Maybe there is some way to print those on error. Maybe I've missed that. Most likely I've missed that because that's not something I have reviewed. But it would be very useful to see what exactly went wrong when I have 100% errors, right? At least some hunch, right? The response code doesn't tell me much really. So that's the thing here. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can open up the stream, see if you guys can see me right. I guess you can. Cool. Okay, back to the problem at hand, I guess. I'm currently running a test with a single user. Should be revealing whether I have some problems with just the orders, or maybe these are just accounts that are problematic, or maybe it's both. I don't know. The test has finished. There were 0 errors. Now let's run a magical number of 17. 18. 18 should be a magical number. Why is that failing? Of course, I must have clicked something wrong here. I usually am. Why is this setup failing here? Okay, I've deleted something. Sorry. What am I apologizing for? Cool, so we had no problems, no issues with that. No issues with the code, no issues with the transactions. Let's bump it up to a 50. No, actually, no. The test is involved. See? Made wrong conclusions. I just look at the summary here, and it just gave me the wrong numbers. Cool. The test should be finished soon-ish. Yes, we're at step 27 for each. Okay, so all of those users are set up at once. This is not a real scenario, I'm guessing. Just open. What are the options actually to do that here? Let's see whether we can just. This is spotlight. I want a spotlight. I want the autocomplete to do this thingy for me. Once users. All right, theater. Users-ish. Okay, so the autocomplete isn't really helpful. What are the methods that I can use here? So, okay, I can advance users. That's I understand, right? We can do ramp up. Ramp up users. What's the difference between ramp up concurrent users or ramp up users? Ramp users per second. I need a 50 user during duration of seconds 2 minutes. Interesting. Interesting. So we have a duration of ramp. Okay, this is the ramp up, and I think I can just constant concurrent users. I want them to be 50 during duration of seconds 20. And I broke it. Why would I break it? That's an interesting point. Okay, this is the closed injection. That's why. Okay, so I can either have the closed injection or open injection models. Hey, this is actually great. This is actually a nice feature and a distinction of the two models that you can have in a single script. Okay, so I can have a constant users. I'm guessing I should have a rates, ramp users, ramp concurrent users. So when we are in the open model, we need to operate in the constant users per second. Okay, this is great. This is awesome. For the duration of 120. I think I have left some shortcut on my keyboard for the OBS, and it switches scenes somehow when I put, I don't know, is it 0 or 2, I guess. This gives the protocol. What is missing here? It's still WAV. Okay, now this test should give me different results. Should have a ramp of users of 50, and then I'm gonna have a constant user per second for 2 minutes. And this is constant users per second, not constant users, not concurrent users, right? So a open model test. A very important distinction. Like this is when you operate with rates, they usually generate high throughput and they are less prone to the coordination, like coordinated emission effect, right? Something that you can learn about, I guess. Okay. See here, the users are waiting. So this is preemptively activating the users. I think these are ACA actors underneath, and they are just waiting already. They're prepared for the execution, and then these active, they are active, right? So the 50 concurrent users, this is happening right now, right? So I'm not ramping up the users for 2 minutes to get up to 50, and then I'm gonna put the constant 50 users per second for the 2 minutes. No rev down, but I guess it shouldn't be a problem. I still want to somehow validate the errors that I have for the order creation, but I haven't added anything really to validate it. So I'm guessing I'm gonna stick with the same errors we had, or maybe something has changed and some miracle is gonna happen, and maybe I will not see any errors. I don't suspect this is going to happen, but still, our strategy for today can be hope. Again, setup of the scene was, I think it's actually a cool idea, right? Normally when you think about this for any other tool, you will set it up in the like in some GUI. So some tools let you even plot this on the chart, so you can just click how many users you want at this specific rate. This itself is not bad, right? So it takes a bit of time to validate what happens. I can see myself actually struggling if I have a scenario that is very verbose, right? Although you have multiple simulations with multiple scenarios, I can see myself struggling to read these into some meaningful way. But this is also very useful in terms of the flexibility of the coding, right? Just the fact that you can put a closed versus open model in the same, like in a single test. This is something that I really appreciate from my tool itself. Cool. The test is still running. I'm gonna have some steps ish. You can see that they're not equal anymore, so they will be more distributed, more evenly. Gonna have many calls to various endpoints, and it should be actually good. Cool. This is still running. I'm expecting these errors. I'm actually expecting a lot of errors, and there are. Okay, so there's been 12,000 errors so far. Even 700 errors for the first login page. The request one has 0 errors. That's something unexpected. Then we have some redirect, but also a couple of errors here and there, right?